now entering Degenerate danger zone. Events occur in real time. And we're back with another edition of Degenerate Danger Zone, Volume 7. As always, I'm the Maniac, joined by, unfortunately, Degenerate Al, thankfully, Topher, and producer Burrs. Boys, how have we done this week, and how are we looking on the betting side of things?
I'll start. I went to Las Vegas for the third time
The Kingdom.
in my career, the best city on earth, and I actually came back with money in my wallet.
In the green.
The money I brought with, came back with, and more.
Had a lot of expenses on this trip. We were seeing the Snapchats,
Yes.
the Instagrams, bottle service every night at all the top locations, top flight meals at every restaurant you could imagine, and you still come back in the green. That doesn't sound very degenerate to me.
And I hate to bring it up, but you would have came back with more money were it not for the Sabres blowing that. Or they came back, but then they didn't show up in overtime, and they blew it for you.
So probably top 2 parlay loss all time. The first time I went to Vegas, NHL playoffs just started, and I parlayed the Bruins and the under over the Penguins, and it hit. And I needed one more game. I put $300 down to win $3,200, and I took the Heat -1 in Game 6 at the Indiana Pacers. And it's something that I typically never do because I'm a big guy who's like the NBA's rigged. It's always going to go to a Game 7, and my stupid self took the Miami Heat and LeBron James to win, and obviously goes to Game 7, and the Heat go on to go to the NBA Finals. But yeah, this year ended up taking the New York Yankees. Great comeback win yesterday in Game 4. I also took the Boston Celtics +3.5 against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
And they barely covered with some free throws, right?
Thank you very much, Maniac.
Yeah, we can hate on this parlay for losing, but let me tell you, this parlay had more heart than, I've ever seen. Comeback game with the Yankees, they were all but written off in Game 4. The Boston, after, Hayward goes down in the opening minutes, that was like a 10 to 15 point game at half. They were all but written off, and, LeBron is typically a second half team. And I did say LeBron, because he is a second half team. Surprised it got there, but yeah, got there with you in position. Sabres game, the only thing left on the slate.
So when the Celtics covered, the Sabres were up 1-0. So I'm like, wow. They go down 4-1. There's about 11 minutes left in the third period, and I was about to leave. I told Kevin, who I went with, I was like, I'm ready to leave the arena, and I stayed for that 5-on-3.
I had a feeling they don't score on this 5-on-3, I'm out.
They scored.
Right away.
We booked to the seats. Ran to the seats, stayed the rest of the game. Kane ties it. Was one of the best moments for me at a sporting event just because of what I had on the line. Obviously, it's not a big-time playoff game for a Bills-Sabres fan, but when you have that much riding and you have a chance to win $2,500 and they tie to an OT with 9 seconds left, it was awesome.
Combination of all things. You were on the winning streak. You were in Vegas. This was going to be the cherry on the Sunday, for sure, if you won this.
If that hits, I don't know how a trip in my life could ever be better than that. But, yeah, it's a tough loss, but to still go home in the positives it was a business trip.
Business trip, you did what you needed to do, expenses all taken care of, you came back in the green. Speaking of the green, last week, that was a place where we all resided. Everyone put up some solid numbers. I went 3-0, everyone else across the board 2-1, leading to 9-3 on the week. So if our passengers followed along, they were up basically 6 bets. Now, a little controversy we're getting going forward. People want to know how much are you putting on these games, things like that. So we're going to make it plain and simple for all of our DDZ, loyal viewers at home. From now on, going forward, we're going to make our bets placed on units. Every volume, each individual bettor on this train is going to get 5 units to play with. You can put them all on one pick. You can put them dispersed evenly amongst 100 picks if you want. But we're going to spread them out, we're going to go units, and we're going to stack this cheese until we get that guap.
The accountants here at Trainwreck when they heard that, they were looking on Glassdoor for
eyes to the sky when they heard that one.
Yeah,
they were fed up with us in more ways than one. But with that said, I mean, so we were 9-3 last week. The great thing about this unit, they're playing with units. It's gonna allow us to play money line plays rightfully and actually track them, and we're gonna see exactly what we have to offer sports pick wise. With that said, does anyone have anything else before we get into it?
Yeah, a little quick recap from this weekend. Got to give you mad props, obviously, for Q's money line. You did say sprinkle. Producer Burrs also said sprinkle on LSU. So we had a very, like you said, 9-3 week. We're 31-25 overall now. This train's rolling along.
On the season, 31-25. 3 out of 4 of us are above 500. Topher not far behind at 6-8. That's not horrible. You do that on a Saturday, you're not ripping your hair out by any means whatsoever. Yeah, I think we're hitting our stride. I think the sharp picks are starting to come in, and that's what we're really seeing. Do you guys see any sharp angles that you're going to be targeting over the next couple weeks in addition to the picks this week?
I'm going against the Eagles. They're 5-1. The Redskins are in second place right now in that division. They're 3-2. I know the Cowboys went like 13-3 last year, but the NFC East is always close. It always comes down to the last week. I'm picturing like an Eagles-Redskins matchup late in the year that means something. I can't picture that coach that wears a visor. I can't picture him coaching a 14-2, 13-3 team. So I think they're going to come back down to earth a little bit. That's just my reason.
You're absolutely right. I've never seen a good
Right.
coach with a visor since Spurrier, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a great angle to track. The Eagles are the bells of everybody's ball right now, getting it done on the road and whatever they can. What do you think, Anil?
Same thing that happened last year with them, right?
They did. They started
Hot start
sharp.
and boom. So I love that. I
love the angle, definitely. The other angle I'll be tracking in addition to the Eagles, obviously. Plain and simple. We saw last night the Vegas Golden Knights. They're clearly outplaying their potential. They're 5-1 now. This is a team that everyone predicted to be in the cellar. And it makes sense. It's a ragtag bunch of groups. It's everyone else's cast-offs. They probably banded together. Oh, nobody wanted us, yada, yada. We're going to play our hearts out for the Risco games. These teams are coming, traveling, and partying in Vegas. We heard the rumors about the Sabres partying. Teams are going to learn that on their second and third times in there for sure, and they're going to absolutely receive some beatdowns with their second and third stringers.
When I woke up and saw that line at Sabres minus 115, I'm like, okay. The Red Wings were there like 2 nights before and were like plus 130 at 3-1. The line just absolutely made no sense. Another great point too. A lot of teams are going in there and partying their asses off. They're there for a night. The Sabres were there for 2 nights.
Yep.
So, and the other thing too? I got to give Las Vegas fans a lot of credit. That crowd was phenomenal. I really did think that the Sabres would be the better crowd in that game. I thought we traveled well, and I thought we would overtake those fans. That was not the case whatsoever. Like, the Vegas fans were nuts. That was one of the best regular season home NHL games I've ever been to, and it blows the KeyBank Center out of the water.
I mean, first pro team in that city. People have probably been waiting for that for years and years. There's been rumors for years and years, so I can see why they're getting behind that team.
It was nuts. But I like that pick a ton. Fade the Knights every week.
Is it time to start fading them right away?
Yes.
Okay.
I go now.
I was thinking too. Yep, absolutely. We're through the net. We're through the grit. You ready for the picks?
Let's do some picks.
Okay, let's go back to front. I want to start with the collegiate action coming up this weekend. Week 7 in college football. Right? We're through week 0. I think we're at week 7.
It is week 8.
Oh my gosh, it's flying by on me. Week 8 college football. Yep, you're absolutely right. Elbers, we're starting off with you. What do you have on the college slate?
Remember, it's 5 units.
5 units across the board.
I gotta use them all, right?
Yeah, of course. You can't take them home with you.
The calculator in his head's going off.
Oh, you ready for this one?
Strapped in.
I have 2 NCAA plays
Okay.
for this Saturday.
A little double dip.
A little double dip. I'm gonna take USC.
Trojans.
I'm gonna take the 3.5 in South Bend. I hate Notre Dame along with another fellow degenerate in this DDZ, but USC, they're due. They're gonna come in and just crush Notre Dame. I'm not even talking about it more. I hate talking about Notre Dame. Just Notre Dame, don't fade them.
Phenomenal point by you, though. USC has struggled, and to be honest, it's a little disconcerting to see our boy, Sam Darnold, not capable of covering. He has really struggled to cover the standard spread this week. Looked out for you on the money line against Texas. Saved you from a bath. But with that said, yeah.
In Nashville, Tennessee, that was brutal.
And one more play.
Yep.
I had this written down. I'm actually just throwing it right out. I'm completely changing. I'm going on the fly like I've done probably on 6 of my 9 wins this year. I'm going to sit here and take Kentucky plus 11.
Wildcats.
Plus 11.5.
Big Blue Nation.
In Mississippi State. Not quite a primetime game. I know Topher's going to make a good point on this a little bit later in his picks. But I love the Wildcats going down in Mississippi State and take care of business.
So what are the units on each?
I'm going to take two units on each.
Okay, and you gotta say, Producer Burrs is definitely the SEC sharp.
Oh my gosh. All over that SEC. He doesn't even leave. SEC East, SEC West.
Stay in the
covers
SEC
both.
like I don't cross transit road.
Of course, exactly. Stays in his safe territory, and you gotta admire that as a gambler. It's tough not to hit that old
You really
slate.
do.
Staying where you're a specialist, very smart. Topher, what are you queuing up for that collegiate action?
All right, so maybe it's the fact that we're switching to this money line system.
Uh-oh.
Everyone knows Topher.
He's got the fever.
Everyone knows Topher goes 1 college football game, 2 NFL games.
Yep.
I'm going 2 college games, 1 NFL game this week. So I'm putting 4 units on college.
4 units?
Yep, two for each. My first pick, Ole Miss, 6.5 dogs versus LSU at home. It's a nighttime SEC matchup, which is always just debauchery, rowdy crowd. You never know what's going on.
You think Coach O gets a limp performance out of those boys after a strong win last week against Auburn?
That too. Ole Miss is 3-0 at home this year.
Unbeatable.
People are gonna be waking up doing whatever the hell they do.
Doing
at frat
Ole Miss
houses.
things.
Doing Ole Miss things. You know, so I'm taking Ole Miss.
Doing rebel things.
2 units on that game. I'll do 2 units. This always happens to San Diego State. I've picked them in the past. I think it was episode 3. They started off as 11-point favorites at home versus Fresno State. People go against San Diego. Oh, it's not a sports town. Oh, only Steven Strasburg went to college there for baseball. Oh, so let's bet against them. They're down to 7.5-point favorites, so I'm taking them. This worked for them against the Troops a few weeks ago for me. They covered the spread. I'm taking San Diego State 7.5 point favorites against Fresno State. My Balboa Park.
Okay, you're going against Fresno State, and you're going against LSU from last week. Okay. All right, let's hear this garbage.
Yeah, obviously you know what it is. And once again, folks, these University at Buffalo Bulls are 7-0 against the spread.
More predictable than a Charlie Brown field goal here.
You have Northern Illinois comes into town, and sharps are all over them. Line went from 4 to 8. And at halftime, they knocked out Drew Anderson, which was
DA. We have a DA of our own, and we would hate to see him knocked out.
UB's second-string quarterback, who has performed great with Tyree Jackson on the sideline, and somehow UB's defense stood strong, and the final score is 14-13, and they covered another spread. And so for college football this week, the University of Buffalo Bulls travel to Oxford, Miami of Ohio. I'm going to save only 1 unit. I'm just going to keep riding this train, and I will do 1 unit on the University of Buffalo Bulls and save the other 4 units for the NFL.
Okay. Well, unlike you, I'll be exiting out of my heart and actually betting with my brain. Besides for Penn State, there's not a more overrated, underqualified team in the top 10 than the Miami Hurricanes. Almost lost to Georgia Tech last week. Should have lost to Florida State 2 weeks before that.
They're like a Kansas City Chiefs-like team in the college.
I'd say they're like an apple in October, ripe for the picking.
This is a battle of the sister schools.
It is indeed. So with my pick this week, I'll be going Syracuse Orange money line. 1 unit to win 3.1 units. The Orange and Dino Babers, can you stop them right now? Slaughtered Clemson last week, leading beginning to end, wire-to-wire victory. Some say it was an upset. Typically when it's an upset, you're losing at some point in the game. Cuse was never losing.
I know.
Okay?
Good point.
Dino, he's got these boys rolling. Bring on Bama.
I wish I had skin in the game of
disgusting.
these colleges, honestly. Just you two. You got the flag draped. You got the scarf.
It's a little chilly in the studio, yeah?
It is. It is. I got the winter hat. It's winter hat season in the studio.
Tell you where it's not chilly, though. Absolutely frigid. And that's in Roger Ball, as our king calls it. King Stucky. The league is getting absolutely out of control, but with that said, I think we saw a return to Shark Hood last week. Let's face it.
100%.
I hate to tell you.
Dogs.
I called it a mile away. Steelers +3. That line smelled like a
that killed me. That was
5-week-old dead body. No offense to anyone who's run across.
So was it
one of
you
those.
who also picked the Packers and got burned last week, or was it you?
No,
I got burned by the Rodgers injury.
No,
that injury crushed me.
I had Minnesota last week.
I took Packers in DDZ, but in Vegas I took Steelers money line.
Okay.
The old Vegas change of heart. They'll get you every time.
Yep.
With that said, so we have the Bills, minor favorites this week over the Buccaneers, -3. That's an interesting line to me off the bye. I expected the Bills to get a little bit more respect in that, especially given the injury. I mean, the Bucs did not play well last week. They were instantly down 31. I want to say 31-0, but I think it was 31-7 to be honest. But yeah, Fitz gets credited with a comeback. It's always a lot easier to throw and come back a game where you're down 24. It's a little ridiculous. I was a little surprised by the line. I expect the Bills to cover and win, but that is a little bit with my heart as far as Roger Ball. Do you guys have any feelings on the Bills game this weekend?
The Bucs are one of those teams that people expected more out of this year. They're just not that good. They're just not that good. So I agree. I think the line, considering the Winston injury and how it could be like the Garoppolo Brisket game last year.
Yeah, but do the Bills want to face a quarterback from Harvard?
Brisket. Jacoby Brisket.
Right, though?
He's sick, by the way.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Do we want Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Well, here's the question. I'm gonna
lightning
lightning around the DDZ crew right now. You pick the Bucs starter for this week. You know Winston didn't throw today. You know he didn't throw today. And you know what Fitz did last week. Starting with Burrs, go. Fitz or Winston?
Who do I want? Who
do you want to face?
Who do I want to face?
Yep. 3, 2, 1.
Crab legs. Lobster legs.
Of course, Winston. I think if he's not throwing on Wednesday, how could he be making
Winston?
big plays on
I
Sunday?
absolutely think Winston. I still have the scaries from that Thursday night game.
Oh, I have nightmares seeing Fitz just drop dimes to Eric Decker for 40 yards. Quincy Enunwa was like the reincarnation of Jerry Rice. I'm just watching him run all over the place. It was crazy last year. It was absolutely scarring. I'll never be able to watch another Jets game the same. With that said, Al, you got anything?
Winston.
On the Bills game. Winston.
Oh.
You're on Winston. You're on Winston?
No,
You want Winston or
I'd
Fitz?
rather have Winston.
Okay.
My thoughts on that game. I think it's a good line. I really do.
Probably
I
is.
mean,
It's
I
gonna
don't
be
think
close
when
line.
you have an offense like the Bills do, you can't blow those spreads out of proportion, especially with the Bucs defense getting more healthy. I think 3's at a good spot. I know, obviously, they got shit on last week, but I think it's a good line.
Okay. We'll get away from that. Obviously, we're going to cover that more throughout the week. Let's focus on our rest of our action where we could get outside of our hearts, bet with our heads.
Yep.
I'm going to cue us up with my first NFL play, and then we're going to go around. I have a second one as well. My first one is Thursday night action. So your viewers at home might not have seen this. It depends when it gets up, West Coast or East Coast time. I'm going to go Raiders +3. They've lost 4 in a row.
Oh.
Chiefs are still a hot public team in perception. People are going to write off that Pittsburgh loss like, oh, it was Big Ben and Vets. I think they get absolutely stomped. I think it's like a 27-13 game where they're not even really in it. I think the Chiefs lose big. I think the Raiders roll. But I'm going to take the +3 because Andy Reid sometimes pulls out the shenanigans and, you never know.
I like that play
For
a lot.
one unit play, Raiders +3.
Okay. I like your play, but the thing you said before that, though, what's wrong with making plays with your heart sometimes? That makes you money. That's
Your heart,
what made me
you know
money
why?
this
Because
weekend.
your heart has no eyes, and thus it's blind.
But
That's why.
What about your sharp eyes? You can't research these games.
You know
maybe
what?
they come
You
up
know where
with-
sharp eyes are? You know where sharp eyes are? Are Pittsburgh +3.5 last week. And I hate to tell you, Topher, but Boise State +3 at San Diego State. When San Diego State's a top 15 in the nation, and Boise State's only getting 3, alarm, alarm, alarm should be going off in your brain.
That's right.
I couldn't agree more with this statement though about how the heart doesn't have eyes. Like your heart sees, or feels. I guess that just completely contradicts.
Your heart
itself.
just sends your
It
mind an
senses-
email. It doesn't
it
actually
senses-
tell them anything.
For
Yeah.
example, it senses that Eli Manning has 2 Super Bowls and he's clutch. However, it doesn't see that before every snap, his shoulder pads are too big, and he has to like shudder and like do the shoulder move. So it's like, okay,
shoulder shimmy.
maybe I should go against this guy.
Big time.
So I agree with that.
Okay, I got Raiders +3 for a unit. What about your NFL slate?
Both
DA.
ways? Both
okay,
ways?
well, give me one right now. The smaller play.
Well, it's 2 and 2.
Okay, 2 and 2. Give
So
me
I'll
the
do one play.
Yep.
I am going with the Chargers at home, -1 to the Broncos for 2 units.
I like that. Broncos are still absolutely revered in the public eye. They just got shellacked by the G-men. They lost to the Bills. I mean, let's face it. They're not that good on offense.
No.
I mean, I know what they did the first couple weeks, and they started strong. Yeah, they're definitely fade territory as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I like LA at home.
All right, so it looks like we're all with the AFC West matchups. I have 1 unit left. I always fade you. You always fade me. I'm going Broncos. That MLS stadium that the Chargers play in is going to be a sea of orange. The Broncos fans are going to be out there. Phillip Rivers is going to be losing by like 3 to 5 points in the 4th quarter. Broncos, what are they? They're point dogs. They're underdogs. Are you kidding me?
They're +1.
They're +1, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Getting
god.
points.
Now that I think about it, I'm like, I should have put 2 units.
My
on.
Chargers, Super Bowl future.
Wow, Topher already has bet regret. Burrs, what are we hitting on the NFL slate?
He's got one
give
NFL bet.
me everything.
I got the 1 unit left. I don't know. You guys talk about these drawn out projections, what you think's gonna happen. Bet with your heart. Bet with this. Bet with that. Originally, I thought I was gonna go with Atlanta, taking the revenge game. I do love the Raiders pick, but I'm going away from all of that. Let me scroll back up to my pick here.
He's going away from all that.
I love what Hundley did, coming in with Rodgers.
I'm 100% with you, Burns.
I love what he did there. He scores points. I have a little bit of trust in their defense to hold the Breeze attack, the high-scoring New Orleans Saints, and I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers to go into New Orleans and get a win. Not only take the +1.5, I'm taking Green Bay 1 unit money line.
Fans, John Q. Public, he's seeing the Packers with a backup quarterback. Saw that score last week. Just to be clear, that game was a lot closer than 23-10 Vikings. Hundley had them down the field multiple times.
Yeah.
They had tons of they turned it over. And that's what happens when you get a second-string quarterback. I mean, the timing in the NFL is crazy. You're off by a millisecond. That's basically a turnover. And you saw that on 2 specific plays with Hundley. So I think he makes the adjustment this week in practice, and I think the Saints are a great matchup at home, especially what? Is a 6.5-point underdog?
I saw 5.5 last
5.5. Okay, so that's moving in that direction. I love the pick, Burrs. Topher, you're cashed out on your
cashed
units.
out.
What about you,
I'm
DA?
So my final.
Finish off.
I got
Little money line action, little sprinkle.
I'm not sprinkling. I'm taking.
Sprinkly.
Too much of that this weekend in Vegas.
Yeah, I'm taking a AFC East game. I'm going with the Dolphins -3 at home
Against the Jets.
against the Jets.
Good pick. Dolphins defense is playing well for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
The fairy tale of Josh McCown has to stop at some point.
I
no
agree.
doubt.
This line would easily be 6-7 if the Jets.
Oh, preseason it was 8. It was
Thank you.
This is 8 7 point.
I'm taking the Dolphins with a field goal at home.
Okay, Burrs touched on it. I'm in it. It's the revenge matchup of the year. Matty Ice gathering the troops. He's going on up to Foxborough. I'm taking the 4.5 for 3 units. Sunday Night Football, correct?
Yep.
I didn't think it was 4.5.
Falcons
Is it
are
4.5?
getting it. Is it 4.5? What is it?
I got 3.5.
3.5.
3.5. I'm buying a hook to 4, you friggin' schmucks. 3.6 units to win 3. Atlanta Falcons +4. I'm counting the vig. We're getting it done this weekend. We're getting that money. We're getting that guap. Couldn't be better.
Do you have a Broncos hat that I could have put on and I was just lost?
Yes.
I still have the stitches in my head, so
Yeah, it's old style too.
that's why I'm
The
wearing
old-
the winter hat.
It's the old D with the
Easy,
cold
easy.
go through.
Easy. I got stitches and Vaseline in my head.
So real quick, a couple of bad beats from this beats from this past weekend.
Okay.
Minnesota +4 against Michigan State was one of the most outrageous things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? How about those Titans on Monday Night Football?
Oh my gosh, the last couple Monday Night Footballs have been absolutely brutal. It shouldn't even be fair.
No.
The Colts were absolutely the sharp and correct play.
Yep.
Did not get it done.
They started off that second half with a pick 6.
Yeah, 19-9.
Um,
And you had Titans money line. You're sitting there about to rip your ticket.
Yep. And cashed.
What do they say? Sometimes they find their way to the trash. Sometimes they find their way to the cash. These picks go either ways.
Give me back to Vegas ASAP.
Get me back to Vegas, but while you're in Western New York, it's good night now.